Hey every pony, I wanted to show you something I've been working on. It's a brand new superhero sure to give Marvel and DC a run for their money. I call him Potential Season. His powers include 0 memorable episodes, 0 impact on the fandom, and 7 brand new rushed underdeveloped characters. His motto is, give me liberty, give me fire, give me corporate mandates or I retire. I think this is going to be a huge hit. I'm pretty sure most of you who are returning to my channel have seen my My Little Pony Season 8 video and how it almost killed the series. It's still one of my favorite videos to this date and I really recommend you check it out if you haven't already. But I'm only gonna give a brief summary of that video. To make a long story short, Season 7 and 8 were rife with production issues, as the original plan was for these 2 seasons to have one long interconnected narrative, but Hasbro did not want conjoined seasons and wanted each to stand on their own. The story of Season 7 was supposed to be much longer and extend into Season 8, but it all had to be condensed into one single season, which is severely disappointing because its idea sounded super interesting and ambitious. Starlight Glimmer was supposed to split off from the main 6 and go on her own journey with her friends. As each group tried to investigate the disappearance of the Pillars of Equestria, the 2 would come to some sort of disagreement which would lead to a civil war conflict, with the additional information that Derpy and one other unnamed character was going to be added into Starlight Glimmer's friend group. Fandom pandering aside, I am so disappointed this never happened. It feels like such a natural evolution of Starlight's character and her story within Friendship is Magic, and they so clearly tried to set her and her friends up to be the next bearers of the elements of harmony until these new hires came in Seasons 8 and 9 and ruined fucking everything. So I'm gonna try my best and speculate on what a biblically accurate version of Season 7 and 8 could look like. And if you think I'm going to be ignoring the My Little Pony movie, don't worry, I will be covering that, I just don't have that much to say. So let's set the stage with the Season 7 premiere. The episode Celestial Advice will now be a more traditional 2-parter, to give more room to set up the overarching narrative. The A plot follows Twilight stressing about where to take Starlight's lessons next, all while seeking the perspective of Princess Celestia, whilst the B plot follows Starlight uncovering one of Starswell's journals that they believe could answer for the disappearance of the Pillars of Equestria. In the end, Twilight accepts Starlight's ambitions and lets her and her friends go out on this adventure. The season proper was switched back and forth between the main 6 and the Glimmer Gang. The main 6 learns more about the Pillars individually and the tragedy that befell upon them when fighting the Pony of Shadows, while Starlight and company learn more about Stygian and his tragic corruption, with Starlight feeling sympathy for the supposed monster. On their way, they pick up 2 new friends who tag along with them and become a part of the main cast. I know they considered Derpy, but I think that even if the seasons were conjoined, Derpy would have not have been a character that made the final cut. I mean, the show itself is already terrified to say her name out loud. If she was a focal character in multiple episodes, I'm sure the censors would have a conniption, and I think in tune with the actual 8th season introducing reps to the elements of harmony that were non-pony, I think they'd follow a similar trend with the 2 remaining slots left on the Glimmer Gang. If I were to make any general predictions, I'd say the 2 most likely candidates would be Gilda and Zecora. Zecora is relatively obvious, she seems like a character just barely out of range of being in the main cast, so this could be her chance. And with her expertise in bizarre and unusual magic, she could be a great use to help uncover this mystery. You can even provide a framing device around why she wants to join, explaining that their path takes them to her homeland. I also think Gilda would be great, as this is a big group of misfits, failures, or characters who've made mistakes. She'd fit right in, and we would get to see her tackle her protagonist syndrome as she opens herself up more to her new group of friends. As previously mentioned, it's likely these characters are going to be the next wielders of the elements of harmony, so under this circumstance, what could their elements possibly be? The Pillars of Equestria shows that they don't have to be exactly the same as the ones the main 6 have, meaning they can be reflections of their own unique personality. Trixie's is relatively easy as the comics gave it to us on a silver platter. A reformed version of Trixie would be the element of humility, counteracting her pride. Maud would be the element of patience because she is a character who is able to simply listen and be grounded for others. Sunburst is a character that overcomes his imposter syndrome to figure out what he can do rather than worrying about what he can't. So him succeeding at having applied knowledge gives me the feeling that he should be the element of wisdom. Gilda would be able able to fully understand what others feel when she hurts them, gaining empathy and what her element will probably be. Sakura would be the element of tolerance because she is a character who is frequently judged from her outside appearance, so she can be used to teach an essential part of equality. Finally, there is Starlight. Much like Twilight representing the element of magic and Star Swirl representing the element of sorcery, she'd represent a version of magic all to herself, and I think a wickedly delicious twist on it would be the element of witchcraft. By the ending of Season 7, the Glimmer Gang would have discovered their elements. This grabs the attention of the darkness controlling Stygian as it tries to take that power for itself, but they're able to keep it at bay using the combined power of their friendship. It concludes with Starlight and her friends preparing their journey back home. Obviously, this is a very experimental season, and I would understand why any executive would be hesitant, but man, for a series this late in its life, I would prefer it if it took bigger swings. As for the movie that took place in between the events of Season 7 and 8, all you have to do is just not show Starlight or any of the Glimmer Gang, as it will be implied for the people who actually watch the show that they're off doing their own adventure, which segues us nicely into Season 8. Now, when Jim Miller described this as a Civil War conflict, I don't think it means an actual literal battle between the two groups. I think it just means we're going to be seeing rising tension between the main six, the Pillars of Equestria, and the Glimmer Gang, with Twilight forgetting some of her principles because she's so caught up in listening to her idol that she even overlooks the perspective of a trustworthy friend. This would pose the two as opponents once again, but this time around not as mortal enemies, but as a pair of friends that might be going through a thorough falling out. Star Swirl, in his outdated absolutist perspective, is obviously not helping the situation in the slightest, as not only would he refuse the idea of reforming Stygian, but he would also be apprehensive about Starlight being involved at all due to her own sketchy past. Despite this season having a literal villain of shadow and darkness, Star Swirl would probably be the actual real antagonist, ironically causing more disharmony than he is willing to admit. Eventually, he would have to see the error of his ways when he realizes he's hurting his friends and preventing any chance of there being a better tomorrow. So, using the combined might of all 18 elements of harmony, they were able to banish the shadow and darkness from Stygian and give him a second chance. The season ends with Twilight and Star Swirl realizing that harmony does not begin and end with them, enabling future users of the elements of harmony to be able to carve out an even better future. With Twilight passing the torch of the elements from her onto Starlight and her friends, what does that leave for Twilight to do? I mean, she still is the princess of friendship after all. Well, that is something for Season 9 to answer, and I'm only focusing on fixing the arc between Season 7 and 8. So with that being said, that's how I'd fix the Pillars of Equestria arc in My Little Pony. I would love to know what you guys think of this change. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Would you have done things differently? And one thing I'm very curious about, who would be the other two members of Starlight's main six? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. But before I go, I want to make two brief announcements. One is that I'm changing my upload schedule. I used to upload videos every other Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, but I'm now pushing that up to every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's mainly because YouTube analytics tell me that's when most of my viewers are active, and if that fails badly, I'll go back to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday videos. And secondly, I have a very special announcement in regards to the My Little Pony Chronicles project. If you don't know, My Little Pony Chronicles is my independent My Little Pony fan series. We've been working on a pilot for nearly 2 years now, and I hope to one day get it out to you guys. But I have something very special planned because at the end of this month, April 2026, you're going to be seeing a full-blown animatic. It is simply a proof of concept for an intro, but I thought it would be fun to give you guys a taste of the ideas and themes of My Little Pony Chronicles. I hope you guys like it, and I can't wait to show it to you all. Anyway, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been May, and I'll see you next time.